Welcome to episode 6 of Pope Snowflake, and a man who gives Pius IX a serious challenge for the title of Grand High Snowflake in Chief. Pius X would continue the trend of casting himself as a Vatican prisoner and issuing encyclicals raging at modernism. The conclave that elected Pius X would also be the last to see a secular nation, in this case Austria, use its veto to prevent a cardinal becoming pope. As with many conclaves, the man who would become the 10th Pius was a compromise choice, one acceptable to both liberal and conservative sides of the Church and to the secular powers. In 1904, Pius issued an apostolic constitution ending secular interference in conclaves by ordering cardinals on pain of excommunication to no longer exercise vetoes or follow instructions from the countries where their archdiocese was located. Pius X would follow in the footsteps of Leo XIII's Providentissimus Deus and its orders to scholars not to use modern techniques, subsequently removing many who were doing just that from prominent teaching positions. He then demonstrated his own hatred towards modernism in 1907 when he issued his own syllabus containing 65 errors to be, quote, condemned and proscribed. The syllabus attacked many propositions that have emerged from textual criticism and are now accepted by most Christian scholars, such as the fact that Genesis could not have been written entirely by Moses, a point which had been made for centuries by many Jewish scholars, such as Ibn Ezra, Maimonides, and Spinoza. Specifically, Pius condemned and proscribed 3 errors, which my series, Vatican Lies, episodes 1 to 3, lay out in detail are indeed factually true, particularly starting from the Gelasian doctrine that are problematic for Vatican pretensions of Petrine primacy. As Pius IX had done with his syllabus of errors, 2 months later, Pius X followed up his syllabus with an encyclical. Pius furthered his attacks on the heresies of modernism, including agnosticism and the notion that scholars should be free to ignore the Church's authority. The encyclical was essentially a diatribe aimed at modernist scholars and teachers within the Church, and an order from the Pope for these troublemakers to follow the party line. The encyclical makes many ironic statements, given it criticizes modernist scholars for doing exactly what the Church had done for millennia, quoting, to condemn and prescribe a work without the knowledge of the author, without hearing his explanations, without discussion, assuredly savors of tyranny. And continuing to quote, their whole system, with all its errors, has been born of the alliance between faith and false philosophy. The paragraph that best encapsulates the agenda of the encyclical is a petulant statement raging against the turning tide of opinion and loss of church authority. The encyclical ends with suggested remedies which include scholars' singular immersion and refuge in the scholastic method, despite its inherent flaws that had been criticized for centuries, and a reiteration of the desperate need for censorship. These measures were to be achieved by excluding any maverick thinkers and ensuring only men loyal to the cause of retrograde policies be allowed positions of authority, quoting, there is no surer sign that a man is on the way to modernism than when he begins to show his dislike for this scholastic system. Anybody who in any way is found to be imbued with modernism is to be excluded without compunction from these offices, and those who already occupy them are to be withdrawn. What a way to deal with modern reality, to snowflake out and fire any Catholic teacher with an ounce of intellectual honesty and curiosity. Additionally, books by prominent Catholic thinkers were placed on the index of prohibited books, such as Louis Duchesne's Early History of the Christian Church, and whose Liber Pontificalis was a significant update that documented many discrepancies in the Constitutum Silvestri and myths about the early popes. Pius then cemented his position with another reactionary move in 1910, known as the Oath Against Modernism, which required clerics to swear their allegiance to the above-mentioned syllabus and encyclical that condemned anything modern, including applying textual criticism to the Bible or usage of philosophy inconsistent with Catholic scholasticism. The oath remained in place until it was abolished by Pope Paul VI in 1967, shortly after the conclusion of the Second Vatican Council. If you like my content, please like and subscribe to get notified of new videos. Please also consider supporting my work by becoming a Patreon sponsor. You can also find me on the following platforms.